The following will address aquatic ecosystems, marine and freshwater. First, recall that ocean currents provide areas of upwelling, bringing nutrients from the ocean sediment to the surface. These currents also help determine regional climates. When we begin looking at aquatic life zones, these biomes are delineated by either being salt or freshwater. However, the biodiversity of each zone is dependent on the amount of salinity or the saltiness of the water. Oceans give us valuable ecosystem and economic services which support us and our communities. Marine systems can also be reservoirs of biodiversity. In marine systems, there are three life zones. We've got the coastal, the open ocean, and the ocean bottom. The coastal zone consists of the region between the tide and the continental shelf. This area is warm, very nutrient-rich, and relatively shallow water. The coastal zone is where 90% of marine species reside, even though it only accounts for 10% of the ocean's area. Water comes in the coastal zone through several avenues, one of which is an estuary, where the river meets the sea. This area tends to be a mixture of freshwater and seawater. Here's where the nutrients and pollutants in runoff from the land primarily enter the sea. The coastal wetlands are land areas that are primarily wet or underwater the majority of the time. These can include marshes, mangrove forests, and seagrass beds. They provide a host of services such as filtration, nurseries for several species, habitats, and vast underwater systems. Additionally, they help absorb any damage coming off of the water, whether it's in the form of waves or storms. In the open ocean, there's three vertical zones. You've got the euphotic zone, which carries 40% of the world's photosynthetic activities, and it's also home to the large, fast-swimming fish. The bathal zone doesn't contain much photosynthetic abilities, but it does have zooplankton and smaller fish that come up at night to feed. The abyssal zone is very dark and cold, but it's still teeming with life due to the quantity of nutrients that are available. More organisms that live in the abyssal zone feed on what's called marine snow, or decaying organisms, which floats down from above. Human activities have very disruptive and damaging impacts on many of the ecosystem and economic services that marine systems provide, especially in shorelines, mangrove forests, and coral reefs. Moving into freshwater zones, we have standing bodies of water and some flowing bodies of water. Any precipitation that does not sink into the ground or evaporate becomes surface water, and it's stored on Earth's surface. Standing freshwater systems, such as lakes, can be oligotrophic or eutrophic. Oligotrophic lakes tend to be deep, but they have little nutrients, whereas your eutrophic lakes, which tend to be shallow, murky, have a lot of nutrients. When human processes generate pollution, primarily in the form of non-point source pollution, whether from agriculture and residential locations, urban areas, it can cause cultural eutrophication. Or in other words, the high nutrient content in the water is due to our human activities. Flowing bodies of water have to go through several zones to cut through land before reaching the delta, or the mouth of the river. At the mouth of the river, wetlands are often found. These freshwater wetlands are similar to coastal wetlands, except that they are inland and don't have a high salinity. These wetlands act as sponges that filter waste and pollutions. It helps with flooding, preventing erosion. It recharges or refills aquifers and has a very high amount of biodiversity. Human activities that frequently impact freshwater systems include the installation of dams and canals, disruption through flood control, agriculture and urban pollution, and the degradation or draining of our wetlands.